Well, good afternoon to everybody. It's 4/28, 2026, year of our Lord. How are you doing today? I'm just checking on the weather right now. Oh, yeah, we got it coming. Welcome to April showers bringing May flowers. So, how y'all doing this fine day? Hopefully, if you're in the path of some severe weather, you follow instructions and take cover. I'm hoping. I know Rockwall got some pretty good sized hail the other day. It bypassed us, which normally it doesn't bypass us because we are the first major city that happens coming from the west. And so we get all the big thunder boomers and high winds and all that stuff. And then once it starts hitting Carrollton and all those other metropolises in buildings, and it kind of dies down and then it kind of picks up steam again. So I want to apologize. Sinus issues going crazy. It's definitely blowing something in. But thank you for joining me today on Hola America Political Podcast. I do appreciate your attendance. I am currently on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and Peeled. Peeled is a new platform for conservatives. And yesterday was my first showing, and I got a lot of comments and I got red pills, I got gold pills. So I'm really enjoying the platform. So, a little bit of housekeeping. All right. I got the two dogs in the house. They're pretty relatively calm today because the dogs around here are in the house. But when we do have dogs bark outside, the dogs inside bark. Okay. It's like I've said many times. I don't cage my kids. You don't cage yours. They have free range of the house. Okay. Train just came by a few minutes ago, and we've got deliveries coming. So let me do something here real quick, guys. Let me do something here real quick. I got to turn on. I always forget to turn this on, and I'm always really dark. Oh, nope. There we go. I always forget to turn that on. I need to put a tape here saying, do you have lights, camera, and action? See, now you can see me. Now I'm not dark anymore. So, anyway, excuse me. Today's a free-for-all Tuesday. You heard of Taco Tuesday? It's free-for-all Tuesday. I heard Cinco de Mayo falls on a Tuesday, so it's Cinco de Mayo and Taco Tuesday. Woo! Aren't y'all going to have some fun? Anyway, so we're going to go through X, and we're going to look at some things, okay? We're going to discuss some stuff. I'm going to let you hear some points of view. We've got the king and queen here in America right now, and I was kind of disappointed I didn't see any protests out there on the streets. Where were the protests for the actual king? There were no protests. It was kind of disappointing. I was waiting for it to happen, and it never did. There were no road closures. There were no, middle-aged white liberal women out there. There were no, middle-aged white trans women that were men that have hairy chests and beards and looking like Jackie O, or trying to look like Jackie O. I didn't see anybody out there like that. Kind of disappointed. The actual king is here, and they're not protesting it. So, kind of disappointed in you guys, really am. You need to do better. I guess y'all were too busy mourning the fact that Trump didn't get unalived this weekend. I'm assuming. Anyway, we're going to go through X. We're going to see what's happening. Let me get a coffee drop here. I always forget to bring in my eagle. I have a beautiful statue of an American eagle I call Freedom. I always forget to bring him in here. I've got my two Highland cows. Honey and Paul, my Aunt Patty and Uncle Paul, Honey and Paul, but I don't have my eagle Freedom. Anyway, guys, let's get going, shall we? Let's see what we got here. I bookmarked some stuff, so looks like we're gonna get some D class.
So I'd like to hand it over to my esteemed colleague and chairman of the new task force, Congresswoman Luna, for her remarks.
Thank you, Chairman Comer. When our founding fathers stood against tyranny, they did not merely oppose taxes. They defended the sacred idea of individual sovereignty. They declared that no government, agency, or title could infringe upon the freedoms of speech, religion, thought, and the pursuit of truth. For too long, the American spirit has been dimmed by a veil of secrecy, by a government that has grown too comfortable in the shadows, denying us the transparency we deserve. But today, we stand at the dawn of a new era where the light of truth begins to shine through. A few weeks ago, President Donald Trump made a historic announcement. With the stroke of a pen, he committed to declassifying the files concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A decision not just monumental, but pivotal. It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive on. Our first hearing is set for March. The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen communications with various agencies, to include Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice and the Secretary of State. This will no longer be a task force that makes...
Let me do something here. This already started. Did you notice it said March, and she already talked about Bondi, right? This already started. This will be bought out. Hold on just a second, guys. This will be bought out in due time, okay? Now, she talked about everything that's going to be declassed or has been declassed. Now we just got to get it to the public. Here's my problem that lies with that, okay? The administration has been talking for months now about they've got all this evidence of Obama and Hillary and the Russia hoax and the wiretapping and the election fraud and blah, 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 blah. My question is, when are you going to get up off your ass and you're going to show it? I want to see handcuffs and perp walks. If this is the truth, we know JFK was assassinated due to what? We know who's involved. We know what blue and what country is involved. They were in bed with LBJ and George Bush Sr. All right? We know that. RFK, I'm not sure about that. I don't research him. I don't know what happened to him. Martin Luther King was the same thing. It was an actual group that was like SPLC, opposed to racism and violence and white supremacy, that took him down. 9/11, we know all about that, or those of us that are awake know what 9/11 really was. Okay? How did Building 7 collapse without being hit? You ever asked that question? How did the Pentagon get hit and there's no remnants of a plane anywhere? Do you know what was in front of the Pentagon that was hit? The exact files and audit copies of the $2.3 trillion that went missing that Donald Rumsfeld announced the day before on September 10th. Okay? We know about 9/11. My thing is, and I don't want to hear any more about it's a threat to democracy, it'll cause chaos, havoc. I don't care. How much more havoc and chaos could it cause when we've had George Floyd, the summer of George Floyd, the St. Louis, Missouri rioting? I forget that young man's name that was wrongfully unalived. All the other riots we've had. Rodney King? How much more chaotic can it be? Here's the thing, and like I say, I call balls and strikes, people. I call it the truth as it is. Yes, I try to support Trump, but there's shit he's doing that needs to be stopped, and he needs to quit taunting and get up off the royal throne, wipe his ass, and get busy. Okay? We need this shit released. It needs to be done. We need to get the hell out of Iran, too. We've already done it. It's done. Monitor them. Make a deal. Send somebody over every 6 months. Do surprise visits if you need to. We have the intelligence. We have spies we can put over there, and let's get our men and women in the military back home. We've got way too much armory over there right now. Have you seen the insane amount of carrier groups we've got? Ships and planes guarding that little piss-ass country. Have you seen it? Like over 35 carriers. Why? Yes, we're going to take over. Yes, we took over Carg Island. Yes, we got all the bullcrap under the island, all the servers, all the dirty little secrets, all the Iran transactions since 1979 until now. We've got it all. Okay? Okay, we're crippling them because we're not letting the oil come out. Big deal. Get our people back. Get humanity groups in there to start getting the country built back up. Get them freed. And get home. We don't need to be there, DJT. But you also need to start releasing all this stuff out. Everything. Everything. Whether it causes chaos or not, I don't give a damn. I want transparency. You talk about transparency, but yet we're not getting transparency from you. Because now all this shit and all your cabinets talk is nothing but shit, and I'm saying it, it's the truth. Talking nothing but shit and not delivering it. I'm ready to pick up the poop. Deliver the shit so I can pick it up. All right? Quit touting the same shit you've been touting for the last 10 years and let's get some activity going. Let's get some arrests. Okay, James Comey got, convicted today for the 8647? What about all the other people that have threatened him? Where are their arrests? Where are their indictments? Okay? If you've got all this shit on all these former presidents and secretaries of states and all that, and I know you do, because I follow it all. Let's see some arrests. Quit sitting on the pot. Take the shit or get off. That's all I'm saying. I'm tired of it. I'm getting very disgruntled. And I'm getting very dissatisfied with the way things are going right now when we should have been in and out of Iran in less than 2 weeks and it should have been taken care of. And you should be back here worrying about our economy and the gas prices and everything going up. Yes, it's lower than what it was under Biden, but it could be better if you're worried about that and not worried about the bullshit with Iran. Be done with it. I don't get it. Okay, let's go on to the next thing, because this here's old news. We've already talked about it, so you got to get up off rest and do something. Okay, here's something.
Now facing criminal charges. This over an alleged cover-up involving research into the origins of COVID. Rich Edson on this story. Intriguing, Rich. What you find out there in Washington?
Now, it is, Bill. The Justice Department has charged David Morins, a doctor, with conspiracy, claiming he concealed federal records to counter evidence that COVID-19 may have leaked from a lab in China, all to help restore a controversial coronavirus grant. Morins, a former aide to Dr. Anthony Fauci, testified before the House's COVID Select Subcommittee nearly 2 years ago about emails he'd sent in February 2021, claiming that he'd learned to make emails disappear after he received Freedom of Information Act requests.
Ever delete or attempt to delete a federal record?
No, but let me explain why. When I came there in 1998, we were instructed to delete emails or to move them into PST files frequently because they jammed the computer.
The Justice Department says Morins used his personal Gmail account to exchange non-public information. The indictment also claims an unnamed co-conspirator gave Morins wine for his, quote, behind-the-scenes shenanigans, then suggested he could push scientific commentary in a prominent medical journal advocating that COVID-19 had natural origins. That's a competing claim with the lab leak theory. The indictment says the co-conspirator could also provide meals at top restaurants in Paris, New York, and Washington, D.C. In April 2020, the NIH terminated that BAC coronavirus grant awarded to EcoHealth Alliance, who then contracted the Wuhan Institute of Virology to conduct that research in China. From the start of the pandemic, its president, Peter Daszak, worked to discredit any theory that COVID-19 had leaked from that lab.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rich. More to come. Rich Edson on that story from Washington, D.C. Thank you. Former top advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci now facing.
You know it did. We all know it did. All right. Virginia got denied today.
Districting referendum passed by.
Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but it is on Bret Baier Fox, so we'll see. But I don't know if it's true.
Breaking tonight, a circuit court in Virginia ruled a short time ago, within the past 2 hours, that the redistricting referendum passed by voters yesterday is unconstitutional. The judge is now blocking certification of the election and denying a motion to stay pending appeal. Virginia's Democratic Attorney General responding by posting that he plans to appeal that. Correspondent Mark Meredith has.
Brett, good evening to you. Plenty of new drama here in the Commonwealth tonight. Republicans are challenging the legality of yesterday's ballot measure. They have asked a judge to throw out the case, essentially to wait for it to happen. An injunction was issued. The judge agreeing. Democrats, as you mentioned, say they are going to appeal, that there's no merit to this case, that they believe this is an attempt to override the will of the voters. Either way, Brett, this is creating a lot more chaos ahead of November's midterms.
So this wasn't the will of the voters. I hope you know that. It was the will of the machines, not the voters. But it's going to go to the Supreme Court. What makes it any different than Texas doing what they did? And here again, I'm going to call balls and strikes, guys. All right? I might be a Trump lover, a MAGA lover, but like I say, I call balls and I call strikes. I can call it on both sides when I see it. What's going to be the difference in Florida when Ron DeSantis does it in Florida, make it basically all red, 99.5% red and 0.05% blue? What's going to be the difference? Texas did the same thing, right? What's the difference? Somebody explain it to me. Maybe I'm not that forthright. Maybe I don't have that much of a brain, because according to Sharon Stone, when you're a Trump and MAGA supporter, you don't have a brain. You don't have a passport. You don't travel. You're just stuck in a cave somewhere. So, maybe because I'm a Trump supporter, I don't have the brain. But what difference does it make? Texas and Florida did the same thing. Somebody want to ask me that question? I got to do something here real quick, guys. Okay, they didn't want you hearing that. I'm just asking. What's the difference?
Donald Trump and Republicans launched this gerrymandering war.
And he's right. He's so right. He's not. Hakeem Jeffries is not lying. I don't know why I cannot move this up. Okay, now let's go to the next one. George Soros. We know who George Soros is, don't we? On the email between me and Podesta and Jennifer New York City meeting. Soros for management. I'm with George Soros. What this is saying is that Soros funded the very organizations like SPLC, ActBlue. Those in attendance: George Soros, Andy Stern, Anna Berger, Jonathan Soros, Michael Vaughan. Strategic goals, voter registration, voter contact and mobilization. I've talked to this Soros for a long time. He wants specific. Pulling the dialogue with you. Okay, so we all know George Soros has been involved with this with Podestas and the Clintons and everybody else for years, okay? I told you how he did it. He started in the small little rural towns of getting everybody in, and then it grew to eventually to the presidency, okay? Take it with a grain of salt, take it with what you will. It doesn't matter, okay? It is what it is. We know he's behind it. We know he's giving the money to all these groups. You know, SPLC's been busted. USAID's been busted. Act Blue's been busted. All the other ones are going to get busted. But maybe they should start looking into Republican ones too. How about that? If we're going to look into blue, why don't we look into red? We might be surprised. Okay, next one. Well, okay, I don't see my Promethean action. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, guys. I gotta get my Promethean action here. Give me just a second. Okay, here it is. Alright. Here it is. Promethean action. City of London is collapsing and they're terrified. New Epstein files expose Mandelson, Rothschild's banks, and the WEF, World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab. Watch Christopher Steele desperately blame Russia again while their entire corrupt empire burns. Now, I'm not going to make you listen to this whole thing. Christopher Steele is the exact same one who bought the Russia hoax, the dossier.
Last week, it tried to explain why he sent Lord Peter Mandelson to be U.S. ambassador when he knew that Mandelson was deeply compromised by Jeffrey Epstein. It didn't work. The media are now calling Starmer a dead man walking. And you can see how damaging this is by how desperately the city is trying to make it go away. They sent out the discredited MI6 spy, Christopher Steele, to claim that the whole Epstein network was actually a Russian intelligence operation. The same Christopher Steele, who gave us the debunked Russia dossier, is now telling us that the City of London's dirty laundry is actually Putin's fault. They're running the same play they ran in 2016. But the real problem is the United States, where Donald Trump keeps adding pieces to his American system economic revolution. Trump's actions have emboldened American system fans like Oren Koss and Steve Bannon to finally enthusiastically explain it to the American people. Here's their exchange.
Hang on. So listen, I want to make sure we name this as a construct for people. So we're dancing around. It's the American system. It's what Hamilton, and I say, along with the Declaration of Independence, something that doesn't get as much play that almost should, is Hamilton's report on manufacturers. And you had, Andrew Jackson was part of that, Lincoln as a Whig, this whole...
I'm not going to watch this because I can't stand this.
I'm going to first show you how the Epstein disclosures reveal how the globalist financial system was rigged. Then I'm going to show you that the elites panic isn't just because they're being exposed and caught, it's because their casino economy has run out of chips, and Donald Trump has called their bluff. Finally, I'll show you why Christopher Steele's desperate attempt to blame Russia actually exposes even more about how the City of London and Wall Street have done their very dirty business. So if you're up for the ride, please like and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. Lord Peter Mandelson was called the Prince of Darkness in British circles. That's because he engineered the career of Tony Blair and what the British Labour Party calls New Labour, i.e. globalization. Like Bill Clinton in the US, it was a con job, feigning concern to the lower classes while giving the elites and the banks free rein. Mandelson was the satanic brain behind many of the Anglo-American schemes, breathing life into what they called the rules-based order. To recap, the recent Epstein release shows Mandelson trading deep insider financial information with Epstein from 10 Downing Street during the 2008 financial collapse.
Okay, we know about Epstein being involved.
British intelligence, the offshore financial system, the royalty. That's the fight we've been tracking at Promethean Action for decades. It's what makes our coverage very different. And if you want to see the world that most people don't even think exists, subscribe to our free newsletter. The link is in the description. But the real bigger truth here is that Donald Trump has called all their bluffs. Before Oren Koss went on Bannon to be cross-examined about Trump's American system of economics, he wrote an article in the New York Times calling out Wall Street and the City of London for the financialization schemes and crimes through which they have looted our economy. It's titled, "The Finance Industry is Gripped. It's time to start treating it that way." He says his original title was How to Save Capitalism from the Capitalists. Here's a couple of his money quotes. In a financialized economy, businesses become mere sources of cash, assets to be manipulated and then operated for maximum investor returns. Workers become just another cost like lumber. Customers are just revenue streams to be tapped. It has corrupted sectors in which the profit motive was never meant to reign supreme in our country. Veterinary practices, funeral parlors, campgrounds, residential treatment services, youth sports, hospitals and nursing homes, even suppliers for volunteer fire departments. Consolidating and managing them with ruthless efficiency, seizing the vulnerable customers and then pointing higher cash flow as somehow value creation. But that system has now failed. It's run out of chips, and the establishment can no longer hide the fact. Its final burial is due to the American system of economics being wielded now by the Trump administration. It puts people didn't follow the ins and outs of Russiagate. You might think these lies are all new. They're not. They were part and parcel of lies about Donald Trump concocted in the 2016 to 2018 operation, which involved the CIA, MI6, and much of the American establishment. Steele's lies cover up the real scandal, which all comes back to the City of London and current British and American political operatives. When the Soviet Union disbanded, Russia was looted to the bone by oligarchs functioning under the control of the City of London bankers. Jacob Rothschild, for example, was the controller of the oligarch Mikhail Khodorkovsky, and that's all documented. Russian organized crime provided huge chunks of the looted revenue flow into the City of London banking center, as well as the New York Fed. Many believe that without it, the City of London bankers would not have survived the 90s. When Putin came to power, he ended much of that. But the dirty money flows from Russian organized crime continued into London's bank and offshore havens. 4 years ago, Chatham House, the think tank for British secret intelligence.
Okay. So she's pretty much telling the same thing that I've been talking about, blah, 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 all this time, about how Bank of England, right? You got Bank of England. Get back here. And then you got all the surrounding countries that are supporting it. Okay? And Trump got him in the first term. Now he's getting him in the second term. You think King Charles is here just to visit? No, King Charles is here to make peace, bury the hatchet, drink wine and eat cheese. He's got a smooth over Stalmer's stance with Trump over Iran. He's got a smooth over Trump's stance with Stalmer over Iran. And he wants to get back the power that he took back when he took down the central banking system, took down the Lords of London insurance over the Strait of Hormuz, and took away all the monies from the one Rothschilds and Vaticans that were supplying the banks in London. Okay, so we already talked about that. All right, here is Susan Kokinda. I love her. She's also on Promethean Action.
Third assassination attempt, and it happened at the very same Washington Hilton where Ronald Reagan was shot 45 years ago. Here's what the president said.
You know, I've studied assassinations, and I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most, you take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln, I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this where they got them. But the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the names there, the big names.
He's right, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. And the timing of what's happening this week tells you everything. Today, King Charles arrives in Washington, just as a conveniently timed book is published called The Queen and Her Presidents, The Hidden Hand That Shaped History. Well, that hidden hand is not happy with Donald Trump, as a new House of Lords report released at Chatham House last week makes very clear. So we have a thwarted assassination attempt, a royal visit, and a Chatham House forum. These are not separate events, although the media will treat them that way.
Correct.
But if you understand how Donald Trump and his administration are dismantling the strategic and economic levers of the British Empire, then you will understand just how connected they are and just how dangerous the current moment is. I'm Susan Kokinda. I'm no stranger to assassinations or assassination attempts. In 1968, I was with RFK.
She used to campaign with RFK.
Operated over a century ago. And it's no small irony that many of the guests in attendance at the White House Correspondents' Dinner represented the very press who helped construct that climate. You see it in the newspaper and the social media headlines. Trump is an authoritarian, or he's a pedophile. Now, you also have a more diplomatic version, like members of the House of Lords who warn that Trump has, quote, turbocharged the disruption of the international order. But whatever the temperature scale of the rhetoric, it all comes from the same starting point. What Donald Trump is doing is threatening their system. In 125 years, no president has come this close to dismantling the imperial architecture. President Trump has thrown free trade out the window. He's threatening the power and independence of the Federal Reserve. He is closing off the strategic choke points like the Strait of Hormuz. He's replacing London's shipping insurance racket. He's sanctioning their offshore dirty money operations, and he's pulling the plug on NATO. That's what's behind President Trump's statement after the attack on Saturday.
But you take a look at what's happened to some of our greatest presidents, and it doesn't happen to people that don't do anything, and it's not going to deter me.
That's a president who knows he's making history, and so do we. Promethean action will keep you on the stage of history as this battle between the American system and the British system unfolds. So if you want to be equipped with the strategy you need to be part of this fight, subscribe to our free newsletter. Because the enemy understands it too, which is why King Charles is in Washington. The empire knows what's at stake. Here's what Reuters is counting on. King Charles on U.S. mission to bolster UK's special relationship with royalist Trump. They're counting on the continuation of the soft power relationship that the monarchy has cultivated with presidents for 70 years. Like the one Susan Page, the author of the just published book, The Queen and Her Presidents, The Hidden Hand That Shaped History, describes. She says, on her first trip to the United States as a sovereign, Queen Elizabeth II so charmed President Dwight Eisenhower that she managed to mend a breach between their two countries over the 1956 Suez Crisis. Now,
okay, so that's not going to happen here. Prince Charles is not going to charm his way into Donald Trump being the way he is right now. Not going to happen. If anything, Charles is going to go back with his tail between his legs, and that's the damn truth, okay? Charles isn't going to do anything. He's not, because he can't. He doesn't have that power. Right now, Trump has all the cards in his hand, and he's getting ready to call blackjack. Right? It's Russian roulette, and he's got the last chamber, and the bullet's already been fired, so he's safe. No pun intended. Trump's not going to go, Charles isn't going to go back with any kind of deal. And it's not, it may be a little bit smoother, and Trump may say that, but behind the scenes, it's not going to be that way. Period in a sentence, okay? That's just the way it is. You know it, and I know it. Trump's not that kind of guy. The only thing that irks me is that, like I said earlier, we got to let go of Iran, and we got to get back here and get everybody back in the States. That's the only thing that I care for right now. That's it. So, we've gone 35 minutes. I think I'm done. I've got some other stories I want to share with you, but I'm not gonna. We had Susan Kokinda talk about the Promethean action through the fact that, the British monarchy is in strife, right? England's hurting for money. He took a hold of the insurance company, took hold of the banking companies. He took hold of their shipping and exports, the imports and exports. He's got everybody by the yin-yangs and just tightening up that just tightening everything up where the money's being bled dry. I mean, if you don't see it, then I don't know how else to help you. But all I know is I want us to stop. I want everybody back here in America, and I want Iran to be a great country again with the people being free. And let's get this economy going even more. Let's get the gas down, and let's put more money in our pockets. I'm sure you guys can agree with that, right? I'm sure you do. Yes. Everybody agrees with that? Everybody in the crowd agrees with that? I agree. So, we've got declassification coming. We've got evidence that, the COVID was released, which we knew that. We know who was behind it. We know the real purpose of it. Okay, if you don't, I don't know how to help you. At some point, you people got to wake up. You just got to wake up. Okay, we know I know the truth about 9/11. Every war we've ever had was not by chance. It was made by a 13 bloodline. Every event, every election, with exception of Trump, which is why I said they don't like him, because he was never part of those secret societies, ever. We know it. I know it. Now you need to know it. I need to wake you up. Wake up. Wake up, people. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it today. I enjoyed it. I had a great time today. Now I got to go post for my other businesses. So be looking out for my coffee commercials and my candle commercials and mainly my Ola America merchandise commercials, advertisements. Have you gotten a shirt yet? Have you gotten a tote? A mug? A coffee mug? Have you gotten any coffee to go into that mug? How about a candle to burn while you're drinking coffee in that mug, wearing a shirt that says, "More hustle, less coffee," or "I'm fueled by coffee and Jesus," or "Faith over fear," "Thankful for God." Anyway, guys, hope y'all have a great day. Thunder outside's clapping. I'm seeing flashes of lightning. I don't think the paparazzi's here for me. So I think it's time I shut this baby down. But thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you giving me 39 minutes of your life you'll never get back, and I hope it was worth it for you. If you do like it, please like, share, follow, comment. Okay? Let's grow the channel, guys. Help me grow the channel. Help me. Help me. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. And stay safe out there if you're in the line of thunderstorms. Keep on the lookout. Watch your TV. Watch your phone.